I'd like to let you in on a little secret when it comes to priests. One of the tougher things about being a priest is that our faith flags just like anyone else's. And there are times that I would rather be sitting in the pews and have someone else proclaim the kingdom to me because I need it proclaimed to me. So we often preach the sermon that we want to hear. Because sometimes we need to hear it. I'm a skeptical sort, and it's tough to preach Satan and demons and the like because I don't spend much of my time believing in those sorts of things. I believe in what I can see and feel and hear and touch. It's at least a little more practical. And here comes Jesus, inconvenient Jesus, preaching two things I have trouble believing in. The darkness that exists out there, this metaphysical, supernatural, satanic, demonic thing. And then his ability to bind that thing. I'm not always so sure that there's something dark out there. And those times that I'm absolutely sure there's something dark out there, I'm not always sure of Jesus' ability to intervene and do something about it. So my faith flags. But when faith flags, I reach out to God in hope. And that seems to do the trick, especially at church. I'm a skeptical sort, and so Jesus has a parable for us today. Satan cannot cast out Satan, and he introduces this parable of binding the strong man. I don't know about you, but when I think of the darkness, I don't think of a horned red demon with cloven hooves, somewhere out there twisting a mustache in hell and, plotting my demise. I just don't believe in that sort of thing. I don't believe in demons or snarks or fairies or any other kinds of things. I don't walk around wondering about the demonic. An inconvenient Jesus here is engaged in debate over the supernatural with the scribes. They have charged him that he is Beelzebub. He consorts with the prince of darkness. He is with the prince, as it were. I think our translation says ruler, it's prince. They use these euphemisms for Satan, saying that Jesus is somehow associated with him. The only way he can have power over these demons that he's casting out and healing is if he was one of them. They can't even say the archdemon's name. They use these euphemisms, Beelzebub and Prince of Darkness. They can't say Satan. But Jesus can. And says that not only is there this darkness out there, but he has the power to go in and like a thief in the night, bind that archdemon. Bind Satan. And free God's people. I don't much believe in demons. But then I see the hold that addictions have on people. I see the hold that deeply ill people live under. I see the phobias and the isms that can hold the human mind and twist it into something hateful and violent. And then I start to think that maybe there is something to this world of demons. I mean, we still have the locution that, someone let their demons get the better of them. Those demons are real. Skeptical as I might be, walking in a wondrous world free of demons, thanks to Jesus. I don't believe in them. But they're real. They're out there and they have a hold on us. And there has to be something. There has to be something equally supernatural, equally extraordinary, equally out of the realm of practical possibility that can bind those things and heal them and do something about them. And it has to be Jesus, right? And there are days when I can believe that. And there are days I'm ready to welcome that. And then there are days when all I see is, bickering scribes and religious people. Back and forth. And my faith wanes. It flags. Whatever supernatural world exists, good or bad, it slips away. Paul, in his second letter to the Corinthians, says, I believe, so I spoke. I don't believe, and I don't speak. My faith flags. Despite the fact that the supernatural is real, despite the fact that I know that on some intellectual, some faithful level, that Jesus will come and continue to bind the strong men in our lives, continue to bind the ones within and without. I don't always see it. I don't always feel it. I don't always believe the way I think I should. But I can hope. When I can't believe, I try to hope. Because Jesus, well, the Gospel of Mark is full of these stories that are really two stories in one. This is a story, on the one hand, about Satan casting out Satan. This is a story about how Satan cannot cast out Satan. And it's a story of Jesus' debate with the scribes. But it begins and ends as a story about Jesus' family. About who they are. Because in the beginning, he's gone out of his mind, is the report that has gone out. He's not one of us anymore. And the family is concerned at best and angry at worst. And then when they confront him at the end of the story, they're saying, we're out here waiting for you. He looks around and he says, whoever does the will of God is my mother, my brother, and my sister. That had to have hurt. But notice that Jesus doesn't say that my mother and my brothers and my sisters aren't my mother and my brothers and my sisters. But that the family has expanded. See, when my faith flags, when my belief wanes, I come here to this family. Because whoever does the will of God, Jesus says, is my brother, is my sister, is even a parent to me. Jesus creates the church, this community of disciples, and he calls it not only friends, but family. That's why it hurts so much when there is religious hurt, when churches fight. Because this is supposed to be a family. This is supposed to be a place where when your faith flags, you can look around and find hope. People whose lives have been changed. People who experienced the demonic and had something with a hold over their lives and found freedom and peace and even joy and beauty. You find people who, despite the demonic at work in the world, are out there doing things in service to others, believing in this God and believing, trusting in their neighbor. You see people at work and forming this strange found family. Whatever our lineages, whatever our identifications, whatever our origins, we find brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers. We find siblings and parents who believe. And when our faith flags, they believe for us. We can see beyond a world beyond the demonic, to the heaven beyond it. Paul speaks of this life as a tent that wears away, but we have a building in the heavens built by God. And it's here in this building, if we're doing this church thing right, that we can see a glimpse of that heaven. I'm not perfect. Don't even have a faith I would envy. So it can be hard some Sundays to come up here and teach you faith and hope when I don't have it. But all I have to do is look out at you and remember to hope. And the faith gradually, slightly, incrementally comes back. And I invite the same for you. I'm not asking you to believe in horned demons with cloven hooves, twisting their mustaches in hell, bringing about your demise. I'm not asking you to believe that the first two human beings were Adam and Eve and they ate from an apple or a quince or something, or other in the middle of a garden and were cast out and that was why we live the life we live. I'm not asking you to believe in a Jesus who heals and casts out demons, but I am asking you to believe and hope for a Jesus who can free you. And for a church where you can enjoy that freedom. When your faith flags, when your faith wanes, reach for hope and a future worth believing.